Hi. So here we are with our opinion essays. Last week you wrote some paragraphs to explain your reasons for who you'd want to meet and why. This week we are going to write introductions today and then conclusions on Wednesday. And introductions and conclusions, they're kind of like the bread to the opinion essay sandwich. You've got your reasons in the middle, there are the cheese and the meat, and then the bread keeps that cheese and meat together. Um, and they're important to your essay because they help your reader understand what you're talking about, and they help make your essay interesting for your reader also. So I was thinking about introductions, and I was thinking about how when we used to be able to go to parties and meet other people, an introduction when you meet somebody is kind of like an introduction to an essay. So I was thinking about how when you're at a party and you meet somebody new, you might have somebody that you already know at the party introduce you to somebody else. And they might say something like pretend like I'm at a party and I'm with my friend. My friend might say, "Hey, other friend, let's call the other friend Kelly. Hey, Kelly, this is my friend Jessica. Um, Jessica is a teacher and she has two little girls, Maisie and Juniper. I think you guys are going to get along really great." And then my friend might walk away so that I can get to know Kelly better and Kelly might get to know me better. So, what my friend did when they introduced me is they said my name and then they gave two little, like, kind of hints about who I am, right? They said I'm a teacher and they said that I am a mom to two little girls. And so Kelly probably now is like, "Ooh, I'm excited to get to know Jessica better because I know she's a teacher and teachers are pretty cool. And I know she's got two little girls and I want to find out about what that's like too." So Kelly has enough information to be interested in me and to know a little bit about me. Now Kelly and I can talk and we can get to know each other better. So an introduction to an opinion essay is a lot like that. In an introduction to an opinion essay, you want to hook the reader and make them interested in what they're about to read. And I'll give you some ideas of how to do that later. Very similar to the introductions to your animal reports, by the way. Introductions also explain a teeny tiny bit about what the reader will read about, just to get their brains ready for the rest of your writing. Finally, introductions provide the author's opinion in a very clear, easy to understand sentence. In this case, that will just be your opinion statement that you wrote a couple of weeks ago. And that'll go at the end of the introduction, and it just tells the reader, oh, this is how the author feels, this is their opinion, and here are the quick reasons why. And then when they read your paragraphs, they'll learn more about those reasons. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do those three different parts of an introduction. What I'm going to suggest is that you watch me try each part. There will be 3 more slides, so kind of watch me do each slide one at a time. At the end of each slide, pause it, and then you do that writing for your introduction yourself. And I'll remind you to do that when it's time also. So hopefully you have some paper and pencil handy. It'll also be helpful to have your notes and your paragraphs that you wrote last week. Okay, so we're going to start by hooking the reader. There are a few different ways to try to do this. One is you can start by asking a question like, have you ever wondered, blah, 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 or did you know, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to get out of this so I can type into it. So I'm thinking about my essay, which is about meeting Sonia Sotomayor because she is brave and she is determined. And I'm thinking, what's a question that I could ask about her to get people interested? Maybe something like, did you know that, let's see, did you know that Sonia Sotomayor was the first ever Latina Supreme Court judge? So maybe that is something that will get people interested in reading more about Sonia Sotomayor. Or maybe I'm just going to share an interesting fact to kind of hook people. So I'll try to get rid of this bullet point here. There we go. So I'm thinking, what was an interesting fact about Sonia Sotomayor? Well, one interesting fact about her is that she's the judge who saved baseball, right? That was a pretty cool thing about her. Also, she knew she wanted to be a judge from the time she was little. I don't know if that's a super interesting fact. I'm going to do the saved baseball one. So I could try saying something like Sonia Sotomayor was not only a groundbreaking judge, she, gotta move my head, also was the judge who saved baseball. And that might make people be like, oh, she saved baseball. How did she do that? I must continue reading this essay. Okay, so I've got those two ideas for the hook. I'm not sure I love either one. I think they're okay, but maybe this last one will be the one that really works for me. Okay, so in the next one, you try like an imagine this statement. So I want to think of something that I know about Sonia Sotomayor and kind of put the reader into Sonia Sotomayor's shoes and have them imagine what it might be like to be like her. So let's see. So I was thinking about how she knew she wanted to be a judge from the time she was a kid. She had diabetes when she was a kid. She had to give herself a shot every single day. She felt really lonely when she was at Princeton. I think I'm going to use the judge thing. So I'm going to say this. Imagine, oh boy, imagine you decide when you are 9 years old that you want to be a judge when you grow up. You know in your heart that is what you must do. And maybe I'll say something like, well, that's just like Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Okay. I mean, that ended up being a couple of sentences, but that's the one I want to choose. That's the one that feels the best to me and feels the most interesting, and feels like I can take that and turn it into a longer introduction. So that's going to be the first sentence of my introduction. I just want to make sure that you understand that that's what starts the introduction. So I'm going to start a new Word document that'll have my whole introduction in it. And I'm going to copy that line there. Okay, there we go. I don't want it to be italicized. So that is the first sentence of my introduction. So why don't you go ahead and pause the video now and try out these different ways to hook the reader, the asking a question, sharing an interesting fact, or doing an imagine this statement. Try those different ways out to hook the reader and see which one works best for you. And then write that one down as the first line to your introduction. And I'll take my ideas away so that they don't confuse you. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video, write the first line of your introduction to hook the reader, and restart it when you're ready. Okay, welcome back. So now we're going to write the second part of our introduction, which just kind of explains to the reader what they're going to read about. So if I remember in my paragraphs about Sonia Sotomayor, I talk about how she's brave and how she's determined, and I give examples of how she had diabetes as a kid, how she was really brave when she went to Princeton, and how she was the first Latina Supreme Court justice, only the third woman, and how she knew from the time she was a kid that she wanted to be a judge. So I don't want to give all of those examples in my introduction because then there will be nothing left to read in the rest of the essay. I just want to give a couple of hints about what the reader will find out about. So here are some sentence starters I could use. In this essay, I'll tell you about, or I could try, in this essay, you'll learn, or I could try, I'm going to tell you about. I'm going to go ahead and try just the first one. I'm going to write, in this essay, I'll tell you about some of the amazing things that Sonia Sotomayor did in her life, even though they were hard and scary. Okay. So I'm just giving the reader a little bit of an idea that they're going to learn more about Sonia Sotomayor and the things that she did. So I'm going to copy this again. And then that's going to be the second line in my introduction. Gotta unitalicize it. Okay, so now here's how my introduction goes. Imagine you decide when you are 9 years old that you want to be a judge when you grow up. You know in your heart that is what you must do. Well, that's just like Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. In this essay, I'll tell you about some of the amazing things that Sonia Sotomayor did in her life, even though they were hard and scary. Okay, I'm ready for the last part of my introduction, but I want you to pause the video here, decide which of these sentence starters you will use for the second part of your introduction, and then write that line right underneath the hook that you just wrote, and restart the video when you're ready. Okay, welcome back. Here we are, last part, almost there. Okay, and this part is the easiest because you've already written it. You just need to copy it over into your introduction. So in this last part, we just provide our opinion statement to our reader. We say, if I could, I would want to meet Sonia Sotomayor or Wilma Rudolph because she is, and then you copy those reasons that you already wrote. So my opinion statement was, I would want to meet Sonia Sotomayor because she is brave and determined. And that is exactly what I'm going to write for the last part of my introduction. So I'm going to write, I'll tell you about some of the amazing things that Sonia Sotomayor did in her life, even though they were hard and scary. If I could, I would want to meet Sonia Sotomayor because she is brave and determined. Then I'm going to stop. That's my introduction. So go ahead and pause. There's one last thing I want to show you, but go ahead and pause here and write your opinion statement in as the last sentence of your introduction. Restart the video once you've done that. Okay, so welcome back. The very last thing that I want to try to show you is how the essay will look once you have attached it to your introduction. So what I'm doing right now is looking for my Sonia Sotomayor paragraphs. I'm hoping that they're easy for me to find, but they might not be. Let's see. Opinion essays. Let's see if they're in here. They're not going to work. Okay, so I'm just going to have to tell you. You'll figure it out. You're smart kids. So I've got my introduction. After that, I'm going to either rewrite or copy and paste or just glue the introduction on top of, however you want to do it. I'm going to have my two reason paragraphs that I wrote last week. So the introduction comes first, even though you're writing it afterwards. The introduction comes first in the essay. Then you've got your reason paragraphs. And then on Wednesday, I will teach you how to write a conclusion, which comes at the very end of your essay. Okay, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you enjoyed writing introductions. They're a really important thing to be able to do. And I will see you on Wednesday for writing conclusions.